Turn off the videos here. Go.
Okay, so my first question is I did a Carlson update this morning, and I think this is the first time I've seen this dialog box, but maybe not. So which do I choose?
All right, so that is, yeah, I saw that the update was ready. I hadn't done it yet, but it says, all right, here they've got, there was a new settings file, that a bunch of settings that came in. So what you want to do is to choose that lower right, keep all current files, okay? And then that's all of those things that you've set up as settings and you've saved settings, then all of those will still apply.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay, here we are back at, and this is probably something simple, but I don't understand it.
All right.
And two things.
Yeah, there's still all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, and the numbers are showing up on these.
Right. Okay.
Which I don't understand. And the other thing I'm curious about is if you click on, well, that one didn't show up. Okay, yeah, it says WNO.
That means it's annotative. It's the SPT4W. That's the SPT4 is the circle. The W means it has the wipeout with it. And anno means it's one of the annotative symbols. So it will take.
Okay, that one is too.
Yeah, so it will react to changes in scale. The thing is, we need to put them at the proper scale is the thing. So if you look at that first one, instead of double clicking it, the little one, just select it.
This one up here?
Uh-huh. And then look at its properties. Pull down the group at the top where it says group 3 in the properties box right there. And choose the block reference. I think it'll get us that. Yeah. And you see the scale X, scale Y, scale Z, that's 0.08. That's your, your plotted, your plot size scalar value.
Yeah.
You see down below, it says annotation scales 1 inch equals 100. So that's what we need to have these others also be. So if you press escape to clear that and select one of the other ones and look at it, pull down that group and choose the block. And it is set to, looks like varying scales. It's still at 1 inch equals 100. So if you select that first scale X, the one that's available, and just type 0.08, that should fix that one size-wise. And you would do the same thing for 231.
Okay, so that, how about where it says name? Do I need to do it?
No, the name will vary because you've got two separate blocks and they're of different names.
Okay, and that took care of the point number too.
Okay, then select that 231. And now choose that block reference 2 and that to 0.08. And the reason it took care of the point number is not because it magically changed its layer. It's that it's got a different annotation scaling for whatever reason. And so that particular attribute at that particular annotation scale is not set to be displayed in this particular scale. So when those 2 points were made, 230 and 231, they were done with whatever the scale was set in our settings. And I don't know what we bounced around with a couple of those back and forth. So now
here's another one.
All right. Now, if you select that 233, you need to be, and double click in the frame. Now select it. See, that is on a layer called boundary. So that particular point is on this layer called boundary, and that's what and see that boundary description, boundary elevation, boundary mark, and boundary number.
Yeah.
So those are the ones, those are the layer names. When you put a point on a particular layer, and if you set in your points default that you want to have separate layers for the attributes, those are the layers. It takes the parent layer name, in this case, boundary, and then it makes that mark, elevation, description as additional layers. So what you want to do is, because this,
Actually, that should be on access easement. That point is on the wrong
okay,
layer, but
then
the
you can,
number is
yeah,
still there.
select the point and just change and leave it set to all two like you've got up there, and then change that. Perfect. And do the same thing for 233 if you haven't already.
I did it for 233, and then I got to do it for 235.
Okay. Okay. And so now you should be able to freeze by pick those point numbers.
So, okay, so I go to layer menu.
Well, yeah, if you know what that is, but if you choose that icon that has the snowflake and the arrow in the toolbar, not in this, close this off. Up there in the toolbar, the right, one more to the left, right there. So click that and click that, click one of the point numbers. There you go. And that, now hit enter to finish.
Okay.
All right.
Now then, the other thing that I wanted to get you to help me on today is putting this topo. Oh, I've got these. This is the same thing.
Yeah, so actually select one of the other ones that is what you've got, like that one down below. Yeah, select that one and see what its properties are. So you want to take that block and then pull down the all three and change that to just the block reference. And see, that's at 0.08, but it's at 1 inch equals 20.
Right.
So, okay, so that one, right?
Oops, wrong one.
Still,
What did I do?
you choose that one right there. There you go. Now scroll down where it says
Oh,
annotation
wrong
scale.
scale.
Yeah. So if you click in that, can you choose the 1 inch equals 20? So you have to hit the add button. And this is going to choose and go, it's the second one from the top. Yeah, choose that and say okay. And okay. And they'll do the same thing for the other one. There you go, an annotation scale. You click that and you'll probably have to add the 1 inch equals 20 after you hit the click. There you go. Oh, it's there. Yeah, just do that and say okay and see. Let me. There's one in there that's not getting caught. Let's see. Select it. Go up to the, yeah, right there. Now on your annotation scale, there you go. All right, so that sets the size. Now you may notice the point is a little lighter weight than the other corners, and that may be okay, but that's because of that layer being that same, being, you know, of a different line weight in the layer definition. So now I see also your spot elevation in your hole up there in the right in there. So you might want to trim or freeze that 59 in the description if you want to freeze it. I don't know if you wanted to keep it or not. If you freeze the description, it might turn off other descriptions like that 1.8 foot DBH tulip poplar you want to keep on. You've also got the point number for that tree. They're all still showing. There you go. So I would leave the descriptions on. Then if you don't want it to say whole, I would change that to just blank, or maybe you want to leave it says whole. It's up to you. But you froze that. Now if you go back and look now at your spot down in the south part where it says, it used to say spot, I think that also froze that one. So that's good. So that should take care of those two. Just be careful when you do those wholesale layer freezes. If you have the descriptions for other points that happen to be on that same layer, they're also going to freeze. Looks like your trees came across okay. So you're fine. Whoops, undo that. So all right, so if you freeze by, so if you use that arrow and the snowflake icon, that one right there. And if you click the word whole, that will tell me if they all go off. Once you click that word whole, if they all go off, that means they're all on the same layer. So, all right, now hit enter to finish. All right, so that should be okay.
It didn't do that till I hit save. Okay.
All right, so you save again. Yep.
I
So
turned the elevation off.
Oh, okay. Here, let me see something. Let me go ahead and I'm going to request remote. Take a look at what these points are here. All right, so this point is turn this off to put it back the way you're used to seeing it. So if I've got this, the point itself is on layer spot elevation as and then this one's on tree. So I don't want to freeze that entire parent. So if I look at my layers, look at my spot. So I've got spot elevation is the parent layer. Then I've got spot elevation mark, that's the symbol, the number, the elevation, and description. So if I go out here and look in these current viewport column, I want to I'm going to leave the mark on, the elevation on, but the point number and the point description, I'm going to freeze those in this current viewport. And there, I just did a regen all, which you shouldn't have had to have done, but sometimes you have to do that, and it took care of that. Okay.
How about the point numbers on the trees?
And that one we should be able to freeze just generally across the board. Now, if we regen all, everything's good, we save everything. Oh man. All right, let's see what's going on with that. On trees. Now let's see. I had to do another regen and they all came back after when I did the save, they disappeared. And do a regen, all they come back. Now, why that should be, Michael, I cannot tell you. That's bad behavior. That's something that we need to get Carlson to take a look at. All right. Again, let's see, there's that relative line weight of the circle. See how heavy this circle is?
Yeah,
Compared to this one.
right.
There's also something right there. What is that? Nothing showing there. Two, three, one. No label. Those are like it's a little marker where the point number attribute were to be. Yeah, see where that grip shows up?
Yeah.
So that's the grip of the attribute. It's not, see, I'm on boundary. I'm gonna try something here. I'll put it back, but I want to put this on. I took care of the weight. We put them all in the same layer, but I don't understand why that attribute is showing up. I do a block edit. Nope. Let's see here. I hate doing stuff like this, but you can, if you want, you can move it. Because that puts it right. And that's just moving the actual attribute. You know, like when you rearrange the placement of these pieces of text.
Right.
So if I move it to the nearest on the circle, that'll hide it under there. Now, please don't take this as, hey, that's the way you're supposed to do this, because this is weird behavior. And I don't know why it's not, it should be freezing when we freeze that layer. And for whatever reason, it doesn't. And it's only those two. These up here seem to be fine. So like that point, and you see they're all out here. They've been moved at some other point, but those little locations of those grips don't show up. They did here, and they're sort of now tucked away under there, so they won't show up when you plot.
Right.
So now one thing I would do is make sure, looks like these contours are under the labels. That's good. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I need to put that in a format, the topo map in a format to send to the architect
Look it up.
as a digital file.
Yeah, so we've got, whenever this is ready, I would send him for sure the PDF, just like you normally always do, okay?
Yeah. Oh, it's ready.
Yeah, so you want to not only send that, but then you want to send this file, the DWG file.
Do a save as and create a different file to send him?
Generally, yes. You don't always have to do that, but if you were to send him this without doing a save as, he would also get this cover sheet, the merger plat, and the topo map, that sort of stuff. So
well, I'm going to send him all of those as a PDF.
Okay.
But I don't want to send him the whole file as a digital file.
Right. So there's several ways you can do this. You can, if you see this I'm pointing to the actual layout tab name down here.
Yeah.
This topo map. So if you right click that and say export layout to model, then that's going to take this drawing as if it is a separate drawing and this is basically, and you see what the title up here says, you're exporting the layout to a model space drawing.
Yeah.
So you could call this, just like you got it here, as a topo map. It just sticks the name of that layout tab onto the name of the file name. We're here in your Bell Carlson folder, so we'll call this Bell topo map, and I'm just going to say here -to arc, to the architect. All right, so we save that. Now let's take a look at what that has. So go now to your open. We're going to open that file.
Third page.
Yeah, that'll be fine. Or you can just hit that open icon. So there's one that says to architect. So if you open that up, you're going to see it slightly different here because it's going to be all pushed over into this model space. Okay. And you look at that and you go, oh my goodness, what's going on? Well, that's because all of those annotations are set, based on these different annotation scales. So to resolve that, let's go to our settings, drawing setup, and let's set this to be 20 scale like we'd had on the topo. Okay. And we'll set this line type scale back to 1. We'll say, okay, now that'll take care of some of these. Then the remainder of these are going to be, let's just look at 1. And I see that it says, yes, it's annotative. Its annotative scale is 1 inch equals 20, but its paper text height is 0.1, and its model text height is 2. So 2 feet, but at 1 inch equals 20 feet, well, that would be correct, but let's see what size it pulled these things to. If we take a measure of the distance, say from here to the bottom, that's 24. So it's got this multiple of 12 involved. It's got 24 as if it were 24. Should be inches, actually. I wonder if it's going. Yeah, see, that's 18. It's 18 units down here at my distance. So it made that, those were 18 inches in paper space. So it made these 18 feet or 18 whatever units. And if we were to look at the distance along here, it's no longer going to be 172.97. It's going to be whatever that is in whatever those inches were. Okay. So you could select.
Is this the easiest way to do it?
No, probably not. You say we could turn all of the annotation off. Let's see what that will do.
Why don't we just pick the easiest way to do it?
Yeah.
I'm not going to remember more than one. In fact, I probably won't even remember one. I'll have to go back and look at the.
Okay, so yeah, so what that particular one did was to and so we did this layout to model. So it takes this in the native units, in which case we were in inches here on paper, and it created a model of that in model space. So that worked exactly like it says it's going to by its name of the command, but I didn't realize that it was going to rescale all this kind of stuff in here too. So that's, again, that's for another need. So if we want to export or to save this now as a drawing file to send to the architect, you want to go up to the file menu and choose, we might can do it with save as, but go down and look under the drawing utilities, and let's look under export. Is that under here? No, let's see. All right, okay, go back up to the next block. There you go, where it says export. And then when it says standard export, if you do that, that's going to create a DWG file. Or you can choose the type down below. Right now it's set to PDF. So pull that. No, that's the file name, the next one down.
Oh.
Right there. So change that. Does it give us? Oh, this thing's slightly different. All right, cancel that then. That's not our best bet either. All right, let's just do the save as. That's going to be our best bet. See, Civil 3D works it like that through the export. But let's do a save as, and now under your AutoCAD 2018, pull down and
name it there.
And go ahead and just use that one over again. And save. And yes, so now if you want to just give him the geometry, like you're going to give him all this other stuff in the PDF.
Yeah, right.
Then select on with one click on the word cover sheet, and then hold the shift key down and click on topo map so you get all three of them selected. Oh, it's not selecting individually, or it's not selecting as a group. So anyway, all right, so just right click and choose delete. And do that for each of the layout tabs.
Putting the topo map.
Yeah, and it's going to put another one back in its place called layout 1 or something like that. And it'll just be a generic. Okay, so there's that, and you can ignore that one and go back to model space, and that's just the model. Okay, but if you go up there and zoom into the points, and if you double click a point number, I don't see up there's like 24, 20.3, any of those are actually points still. They're still Carlson points. So we don't necessarily want to give him Carlson points. And we also don't want to have all of this annotation scaling. So let's say we want him to have the 20 scale as if we're doing the topo map. So let's make sure up at settings we choose drawing setup, and let's set that to 20 scale instead of 100 scale. And then set the line type scale back to 1. There we go. And now, if you look down here, there's a couple of things. You see these?
Yeah.
These are their leaders, and they've got they were
leaders for that line. I put those in.
That was for this bearing here. So yeah, so we can either, you know, get rid of those or reposition the grips, because this looks like now it will fit on this line. Same thing for this one.
Yeah.
So you could simply just move this. It's probably a little close. Maybe move them individual. Well, it's not gonna move individually. Let's see. So I would go through and do this kind of cleanup like this for the bearings and distances, bring these guys down. And if you want them, you know, to straddle like you got them here, if you want to put them up on the same side of the line, whatever, you know, you can do that however you prefer. All right, and then I would just get rid of these stray things that are left over, because they're left over from when you were doing this with annotation. Now, the other part of this annotation business is these things, they're pieces of text or M-text or something like that. Some of them, like if you look at this one where I've selected the 100-year floodway, I selected it. I'm looking over in the properties where it says annotative.
Right.
And it says no, because we did not do that with annotative text. And that's probably what we want to leave them as, is no. We want to take all of these. Here's one, for instance, on the bearings and distances, but you see, yes, it is annotative. Right. So if you would change the scale, it would react to it, but we don't want to have that happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to select everything in the file that is a piece of text or a piece of in-text, and we're going to change its annotative property. So if you right-click the empty space in the drawing and go down and choose Quick Select. All right, so we're going to choose everything from the entire drawing, the entity types. If you pull that where it says multiple, pull that down and choose text. And then you look at the properties of the text, and that scrolls on down below, and you should see annotation. And of course, I don't. All right, so just for it being a text, let's just say instead of I don't know why it doesn't give me that, but if you pull down the operator down there where it says equals, just take the very bottom one and say select all. So we're going to say all the text, and we're going to say okay. So that's going to get all of the text. And now right click again and choose Quick Select again. And this time you want to choose, instead of apply to current selection, pull that down and go back to the entire drawing. And then the entity type, you want to choose M-text. It's okay. And now you want to, where it says equal, you want to also say select all. And now before you hit OK, you want to check down there at the bottom that you want to append to the current selection set. Okay, now choose OK, and you should have all of the text and all of the end text selected. Looks like it got rid of the text, of course. Way to go, IntelliCAD. All right. So let's just take this as one at a time then. So we're on the MText right now. Now over on the properties of all the MText in this drawing, they're selected and it says annotative says yes. Pull that down and say no.
Oh, I'm not seeing that.
Up, up, right there. Okay. Now click over there and press escape. And now go back and right click, quick select, and let's do it with text this time. Even though it should have done it that way. Entire drawing is correct. Entity type will be text. The operator will be select all. And we say okay.
Append?
No, it won't matter because nothing's selected right now. So now it's text where it says annotative, some are, some aren't, but pull that down and just set them to no, rather. Okay, escape that. And we got one more to do, and we right click and choose quick select. This time we're going to look for entity type. I think it's going to be block reference. And I'm sure if it's going to let us get, let me take a look at this. Yeah, we'll do the same thing. We'll select all of the block references. Now, this, yeah, it does bring out the annotative. I wasn't sure if it did, but apparently it won't let us change it, even though it tells us that it has that property. So now what do we do about that? Because we don't want the symbols to resize or any of that. So let me think here. The best way. Best way of dealing with these points. We've got a number of see, I mean, here's the problem. This technically is a Carlson point, right?
Yeah.
And it's it's a group of 2 blocks and an AutoCAD point. Well, if we were to explode that, so it's no longer a block, here's what happens. You get this. See, you get this goes back on its 0 layer and you get those original things, okay?
Right.
So there's a couple of things around that if we do what's called a block explode, or I forget what it's called, but it's up here under Express Tools, and you see this blocks, and you can explode the attributes. And now if you choose one or all of these, this now becomes a piece of text. See right there, it says in the properties, it's a piece of text. And this is just a piece of text. And this remains, well, actually, this is no longer a block. It's a block made up of all of the parts of the original block. Okay, but that's okay. You can leave those there. And so go back to, all right, so back to Carlson points. So if we exploded all of the points in the drawing with that Express Tools block explode, let me see if it'll do it this way. Go ahead and choose that Express Tools blocks explode attributes. Okay. And now it says select entities. See if you can type the word all and hit enter, and if it will filter those for us. And then enter again. Now, what it did, if you notice, this changed a little bit too. So this is now a hatch and a polyline. Let's see, did we explode these? Nope, there's still polylines. That's good. These are all text. That's good. All right. So what I would do at this point now is let's isolate the point numbers layer. So remember to isolate your layers and pick on a point number.
Please layer, isolate.
Yeah. Okay. Hit enter. There you go. Now zoom out and just draw a window around all those and get rid of them and delete them. Now go back to restore your layers. All right. And now look at your two spot elevations. Take care of those individually. Like I would select the number and the description, and that should clean that up. And then do that up there for whole also. I see there's also some point numbers left over on the boundaries. So now go down to, look at all of your points along your point corners. I would go back and isolate those. You can also do, erase by layer and pick that, but I want to make sure, that's why I'm having you isolate them so you can see that it's not, maybe accidentally on another layer that you're going to get rid of some line work or something. So if you isolate those, now zoom out, there you go. And just sort of clean it up, restore your layers back. All right. That looks pretty good. You've got that 50-foot access easement. Is that still correct?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, you're going to need to, reposition your boundary calls or erase them if you're done with.
Really needs the boundary calls on this.
Okay.
Because he's got them he'll have them on the PDF.
Yeah. So let's just erase them all. You can either isolate and do the same thing you've been doing, or you could erase by layer. I think they would also work, but that would work. Now, you see the two over there, or the three like these in here. See, those are still, they're still dimensions. Yep. So that looks good. I was going to make sure they weren't like just labels that you wanted to keep. So there you go. And restore. And you can also do this, which is something I would recommend, because he doesn't need all of this
right
stuff. So you've got a nice little frame here already made. Let's do that erase by closed polyline.
Where is that command?
On the edit menu.
Erase outside?
No, erase by closed polyline. If you erase by outside, because those lines do go outside of where you're going to pick, it would erase the entire line. So we want to now pick that boundary polyline. Yep. And now we want to erase all of these things and choose inside or outside. So we've got it set up just like we like it. We'll say okay. And it's asking for any exclusions. We don't have any, so we hit enter. And there you go. Now that's still there. It didn't erase it because did we do that? Is that yeah, it's an image that's it's like an XREF.
Yeah.
So that's still there. It didn't erase it. So we would go to that, and it's not. There we go, finally. So now I would take this one, and even this Jefferson County 2022. What about your signature? Is it going to be?
Not only, I'm not gonna certify the digital file. I mean,
Yeah.
the others are certified.
Right. So
PDFs will be certified.
yeah, so I would take all three of those now and detach them. You can either hit the red X or right click and choose detach any of that. So there you go, close that off. Now, if you do is, yeah, there's just probably a stray point. It's a polyline of some kind, so that's fine. It's just stray. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. Now zoom extents. And there's still something over there. Yeah, I don't know what that is. You got one there, you got one down here too. What is this? Huh? Oh, shoot. There's something on my screen. Sorry. All right. All right. Zoom extents. All right. There it is. So we got rid of that stuff over there on the side. Here's now what you've got. I'm going to just do a quick sweep across this and put it all in the background. Not that it matters. But that goes to the back, just in case there's any text. Does he need that?
Probably not.
Then yeah.
Then probably doesn't need those labels on the floodplain stuff either, because they'll be on the PDF.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, but there's nothing there that's going to hurt what he's getting. So,
right.
But I don't want to give him necessarily this, like right now, if I double click that red block, that red circle.
Yeah.
So I've got a circle and a wipeout because we exploded the block. And the wipeout's still there. So that's okay. I would leave those like they are, but it no longer is a Carlson point. Now, one last thing we want to double check before we hit save is let's thaw all of the layers. And I'm just going to zoom out here enough to see everything. And in fact, we can get rid of this rectangle when we're done with it here in a minute too. But if you go up now and choose that all layers on, it's this button right there. So I'll go ahead and choose that and keep an eye out. Yeah. So you see there were some things that were frozen now. So there's still some points there. And there's these break lines and all of these different things are on those frozen layers. So we need to, I'm going to undo that. We know that we've got some things that were frozen. So if we undo that, all right, so that's everything that we want to send him. But there's some other things that are sort of tagging along for the ride. We've got these layers in here that are frozen. If I run this layer manager and I click right here in this title, freeze thaw, I can sort. So I've got these layers that I don't want to include here. And you can either do this, you can select those layers. And if you right click and choose delete, you want to say that you want to either delete the record and all the entities that refer to that, or you can move them to a particular different layer, or you can skip it. So if you want to delete those records and all that point to it, you can apply to those. And now those layers are gone from the drawing. So that's one way you could have done that. The other is you get what it is you're looking at that you want to send him, and there's a command called W block. You basically write a block and it writes out only the stuff that you can see. and therefore it doesn't include any empty layers, empty line styles, any of that kind of stuff. So that's not a bad strategy, actually, when you have something like this. We've used that as a trim. We no longer need it. And now, just to show you the difference here, I'm going to look at this layers. You see all of these layers that are down here in this file?
Yeah.
And all of these line types, okay? Now, I always love it when somebody sends me a drawing, I can get their line types because they don't usually remember to go and get rid of them if for whatever reason, and you don't need to, but sometimes you'll get things, and even you'll get all these blocks that were previously defined. If I look at my blocks, well, I've got all these different blocks in my drawing, and you see your PS stamp is still in there. The north arrow is in there. So all of these different things that were defined at any given time in the drawing, even though they're not necessarily shown now, they're still defined as a block in the drawing. There's that merger arrow. Okay, so they would get all those if we just sent this to him as it is now.
Okay.
Let's do a command called W block. That means to write the block. And we hit enter. And so here's where we're going to do it. We're going to tell it, where do we get the source to make this block that we're going to write? And that's going to be the entities. We don't want the entire drawing, because that would get all of those things on those other layers that now no longer exist, but they could have existed. We could have kept them and just ignored them. But we want to say entities, and the base point, we'll go ahead and leave pointing to 0, 0, 0. And the entities, right now, nothing is selected yet. So we want to click that little button next to the words select entities. Go ahead.
That button there.
No, that's a filter. There we go. Want that one. Click. And now it goes out of your way and it's asking you to select the entities. So I would just go up to the upper right and pull down to the left and down. You don't have to go all the way that far, just enough outside. There you go. Click, and they'll go down to the left to where you've gotten everything. Click. Well, you don't even have to include it. You just have to cross it. There you go. All right. So now you're through selecting. We hit enter one more time to finish the selection set. Okay. So now everything's selected. Then it tells you 237 entities are selected. And then what do you want to do with it? You can retain them, convert them into a block, delete them, etc. But we'll just retain them, because right now it's just this drawing that we're in right now. But the destination, file name, and path, that's where we're going to choose. And you can either pull down the arrow, which lets you choose from a history of file names, which we only have the one. But let's choose the ... which lets us go out and pick a place. And so now let's go back to, and you see it points to where you were last looking at a block, not your current working folder. So you want to go to your proper location. And I would choose that 2303 Bell Topo map to ARC. It would be the same file name, and that's okay. And it's just going to overwrite this. But choose it, but before you hit save, I want to change that to put a 2 in it in the file name down there. There you go. All right, so save that. And now say, okay, the insert units being undefined are fine. All right, now, if you save this drawing, now again, what we did, we wrote a block, which is nothing more than another drawing if we put it out on disk, and out of things that we selected from this drawing. So we're still in this drawing, but go ahead and save this drawing just so you can compare the two. Right there. There you go. Okay. Now remember the layer list and all of that. You saw all those different things and the blocks and the line styles. Now let's go and open that other one that you put the number 2 in. And now when this one comes up, look at your layer list and your line types and your blocks. See, the layers are considerably fewer. Line styles considerably fewer. And the blocks, for instance, I don't know that we had any. Yeah, so there's none there. So you see what it does is it only puts in this drawing the things that you select. And that was when you did that crossing. And so that's all in the world that he needs in terms of the geometry of this drawing. Okay.
Okay.
So there's that. Now, so what I would do is this is the file to send to him, the one that says topo map 2.
2. Yeah.
All right. So and you can rename that to whatever you want to make it be or leave it the same, whatever. Just make sure that's the one he gets. Now let's go back to the file that we had before that one. It was just the one that had all those 3 layout tabs in there.
Oh.
We don't even really need to go back to it, but it'll make it just easier. So just go back to that one there. Now, depending on what he may be able to use, remember, you have made a surface. You've made this file called existing ground or whatever.
Right.
You've also got a file full of coordinate points. So you can send him those if he can use them. You could also, let's say you had a subdivision, you could have a parcel database of all the different parcels in the subdivision, et cetera, et cetera. You could have a network of sewer lines or water lines or any of those kind of things, what's called a pipe network. Any and all of those things, center lines of roads, profiles of roads, any of those types of things, what we call civil data, you can send out in a form called land XML. Okay, now I'm guessing in this particular case, you're not going to send him any of this, but I just wanted you to know that that capability exists. And when you do that, that's going to send, if you go, in fact, go ahead and do this now. Choose File. And you want to go to Export. And you see that land XML file?
Mm-hmm.
And see, and there's another one too. If somebody says, yeah, can you send me a civil 3D drawing? If you choose that, it puts all of these things, these point lists, these surfaces, all of that kind of stuff gets embedded inside the DWG, which we don't want. But let's just go ahead and choose the land XML file. And it wants you to specify the land XML file to output. So you're going to find that, so you're in the Bell Carlson, that's fine. So just give it a name.
Oh.
That's okay. So you can either make a new one or you can add to an existing one. So we're just going to make it a new one. Just call it Bell Output or Bell Export or something. And yes, I'm sorry. And so you can either take the current drawing data files, which is what we want, or like I said, you can select from things that are saved on disk, but we'll just take the current drawing data files and you see what they are. It found your coordinate file and it found the TIN file, the surface file.
Mm-hmm.
You could also have, you see the other choices below. You can add any 3D polylines as alignments, which we're not going to do. You could also include any reference files. We don't need to worry about that either. And so we're just going to say continue. And that lets you choose the different units, the version number, all that kind of stuff. And the export cross sections aren't any in here to worry about. So we will export any PLN, which is polyline data, to source or to plan features. That should be fine. Any profiles as road profiles. I don't have any like pipe profiles and such like that. You can set your precisions, but again, the defaults are pretty much set up the way you want them to be. And then you would just say export. And that's going to collect that information and put it out in that file. And that's all you need to do. And then you would send him that file. And so as a matter of fact, what I want you to do is take that file, that topo map 2 to architect drawing, and well, I mean, you can close it now, but I want you to email me that file and that land XML file that you just. So if you minimize Carlson, just go out to the just go out to that. That's what it is. Okay, just a schedule. So go to your Windows file manager.
Windows file manager.
Yeah, the down here, this guy right here. That file explorer. I'm sorry. I get too many operating systems going on. Anyway, navigate to your Bell folder. And you want to find that, see that Bell Export XML? Click once on that with the mouse. Just down right there.
Okay.
So we got that one selected, and we also want, where's that one, the 2 to architect drawing, that one right there. I'm going to control click. So I've got 2 files selected. And you want to right click and choose share or send a copy or whatever. If you share, I don't know how they do it in Windows here. Let's just do this. Let's just.
I would go to I would have copied the file from the email.
Yeah, so I just copied them now. So now send me an email. And then paste those 2 files. Now, let me, right there, I've got your files. I'm going to save these off. I'll put them in projects miscellaneous. Okay, now. I'm going to stop this remote control. And I'm going to stop your screen share for the moment. Then I'm going to go to my screen share. And I'm here inside of Bentley. And if I open up this file, if I can find where I put it. My projects. So here's going to be, are you able to see my screen, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's going to bring up the actual AutoCAD file itself.
Is Bentley your preferred software? That if you had to pick one, that's the one you'd pick?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if I had to live with only one, yeah, because I have so many more tools with it. But there's times when IntelliCAD Carlson is the best choice. There's time I work on files all the time. If I'm doing a GIS project, I'll do stuff in Carlson to get me certain things I need. And then maybe I'll switch over to Bentley, and then maybe I'll switch over, to an AutoCAD base. I did an entire project for a pump station replacement project in AutoCAD. We did all the modeling in MicroStation, the 3D solid modeling, all of the equipment and the pumps and the pipes and all that. We did all that in MicroStation just because I was more comfortable with it, more familiar. AutoCAD can do the same things, but then the final drawings we did in AutoCAD in the Macintosh version of AutoCAD. So it depends. I'm not going to say one's better than the other because they have different strengths. But the fact that I can, here's this file, but again, the only thing that this is to me is just in here in Bentley, it's a line string, okay, which is all it was the polyline. And I would probably select all of these shapes that are, this is that wipeout, but to Bentley, it's just a shape with a fill that's the same color as the background. So I would, perhaps these. What was that? I looked CTR index. So if I take this level, CTR index. I only took the shape. So those there, I'm going to change my color to be the background as well. So now it looks just like it did there. Okay. So that's the graphics part of all of that I was able to recover. But what else did we have? We had a bunch of points and we had a surface. So if I wanted to let me go over here and change I'm going to make a new model. Oh, it's because I need to do a save. Save as. Put this back over into here as a microstation file so that a DGM file so I can use a 3D model. That was the problem. So if I go now to this and make a new model, this will be design model, it'll be 3D, and I'll call this terrain modeling. And I'm going to go to my open roads modeling, which I'm already there. I'll go to my not geometry, but terrain. And I'm going to bring this in from a file, and the file type will be this land XML. And I want to look in this one. There's that Bell export. So it's going to come across. I'm going to bring this in. I have no, I could set my coordinate system projections and all that, just like you can in yours. And we'll get the imagery. Let's see. But I don't really care. I don't want to do that. Let's just do existing contours and triangles. That should be fine. We'll just import that. So there's now my surface, and you see the contours are looking much like yours did. And I can see, you know, there are those triangles and the contours, and it's just like I can do in Carlson. I can draw those contours at any particular contour interval, and I can freeze the triangles on and off. I can turn this into a solid looking surface, cut cross sections, profiles, etc. across this, just like you can in Carlson. So here I am, and the only point I was illustrating here, Michael, is that when you've got the if you've got somebody that you're working with that's that might ask you for any of this terrain information, well, you've got the capability to include that with what you send them. You just would do that through the land XML process. Okay, so I'm gonna stop that share. I'll let you go back to share your screen again like you're used to doing. Okay, so, but for now, for what you're doing with this architect, if he hasn't asked for any of that extra data, the intelligent part of the data, that civil stuff, if all he wants is this map with the contour line shown, you've got what you need to send him. And I would send him these PDFs that you're going to generate and that DWG, which basically has everything drawn. It's in the right coordinate system. Everything's good to go. In fact, you can, we verified that. Let's see, request remote control again. Okay, so we did, I think you've got in your set, yep, you're in West Virginia North. So you can even, of course, what you've got, let's change this to $20. Let's make that here's the scale. And if you switch to your GIS module and look under image, you can place a Google Earth image. You could call it just the Bell site, Google Earth. And maybe take it from, say, here to here. Let's see, by the screen. And we'll just go from here to here. And there it is with the Google Earth imagery, which is, it's not superior, right? But at least can give you some context if any of that is necessary for them. Right. So, and I'll take that part back out. You can do that again. You switch to the GIS module, and it's under the images menu is place Google Earth image.
Okay.
And then you can do that much like you've done under the, all of these different things here, which in fact, you've got better photography through the West Virginia stuff. So there's no need to do that Google Earth with this one, but you get the idea. Okay.
Right.
So, see if we go back to this at 100 and this one. Now you see those labels are pointing and all of those things make sense. So
let me ask you another question that
sure.
I was having trouble with the other day. I was trying to move this over a little bit. Oh, well, now it works. I kept clicking and clicking and it wouldn't pick it.
You were probably in the viewport, and that's in paper space.
No, I was in paper space.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well,
I've known other glitches like that, and sometimes what I have to do is close Carlson altogether and then come back, and it works.
Yeah. Well,
I didn't think to do that.
Yeah. And most of that, by the way, Mike, that I found is it's not necessarily Carlson as much as it is AutoCAD. And it's AutoCAD and IntelliCAD both behave that way, and it's just glitches with the as the kids all say, it's just glitches in the matrix, but it's usually some kind of little incompatibilities in the DWG file format that it's it's complex, and unfortunately that's what you got to do, and you got to do that on the MicroStation side of the world too, the Bentley side. It's not nothing's perfect. I'm waiting for it to hit that level of perfect, and then I can retire. So
this Bell Topo Map to Architect,
you can toss
labeled number 2. Can I delete that?
Delete that one, but the one that says the 2 on it, that's the one you want.
Right. I can close it.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm good for today.
All right, sir. Yeah,
let me ask you, I have another project that I don't have quite ready for you yet.
Okay.
We had talked about it before where I was shooting topo on a road. And because I have to give it to an engineer who's going to do plan and profile and compute some drainage. What's your schedule look like for the rest of the week?
Okay, I do have tomorrow. Let's see, tomorrow.
I won't be ready by tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, well, tomorrow I've got all left. Yeah, tomorrow's shot.
I couldn't be ready before Thursday.
That's probably good for me too. I know I wouldn't be ready until Wednesday afternoon. So Thursday and Friday right now are open. So
okay. Let me
yeah, just get yourself to wherever you need to be and let me know.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay, it looks like I was gonna say I'm perfectly willing over the weekend, although Saturday is pretty short. Sunday if you need, and any of those are just for your convenience. So take your pick. I do have The 19th and 20th. So Thursday and Friday of next week, I've got a survey class I'm scheduled to teach. Nobody's in it. So, that's really basically it. The 25th, I'm not available because of getting my car serviced. And then getting into November toward the middle part, and then of course toward Thanksgiving. Yeah, it's too soon to tell on those, but yeah, Thursday and Friday this week should be good. Give me a yell whenever you get things figured out.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, sir. I will shut us down here if I can get back to this. I will stop my remote control. I can stop your share. Ah, there we are.
Okay, then you're gonna send me a link to the video?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Okay. With
Okay,
that,
thank you, sir.
we'll bid you a good day and talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.